Hey, welcome back to the Inspire RN podcast. My name is Kate. I am your host. We're going to try to keep this episode a little bit shorter so that we can post this on YouTube without it being a two-parter. So I'll start off with a question for you. Have you ever, or do you feel currently, like you're at a crossroads in your life? Have you ever wondered, is this what my life is meant to be? Am I living my life the way that I should be, according to God's plan, whoever you believe in? I think that there is immense power in the art of pivoting. Pivoting really comes from you understanding when you're living out of alignment. And so that knowing of alignment is you understanding who you are, you having a connection with your intuition, you being able to listen to your body and the signals that your body is sending you. All of that is how you understand whether or not you are in alignment or you're misaligned. And pivoting is essentially that. It's making a decision to change directions when you feel out of alignment. So I'm going to share with you my story of pivoting. And if you've ever thought that you're way too far down the road to pivot, I want you to sit down and listen to this episode because you're not. If this is your first time here at the podcast, welcome. My name is Kate Avery. I am the owner of Inspire RN. I have been a nurse since 2015. I'm a mom of 3 little ones. I'm a wife, and I'm an entrepreneur coach, and much, much more. But this podcast really came about because I was really feeling an immense pull to do something different. I had realized that nursing and the nursing career that I was building was not fitting the needs of my growing family. And so I had to really pivot, and I had to take a deep dive into knowing who I was, what I wanted, where I wanted to be in life. And that took me down this road. It took me through so many self-development books. It took me on so many courses. And I really had to be honest with myself on who I wanted to be and what I wanted out of life. And that led me to creating Inspire RN. Here we are today. I post a podcast every single Friday. YouTube is new to me, so every Friday it should be coming up. Otherwise, you can find me on any of your other podcast avenues. I'm on Apple, Spotify, all of them. You can also find me on Instagram at InspireRN, or come check out any of our show notes at InspireRN.com. So essentially, pivoting is just understanding when you feel out of alignment. For every individual, this can be different, but this is how I feel when I'm out of alignment. I can feel like a sick feeling in my gut or an icky feeling. And I know those are very technical terms, but that's what I feel. I can also feel really frustrated or angry for really no apparent reason. And another one that kind of was hard for me to learn was feeling really overstimulated and stressed when the situation didn't warrant that. All of those things I have learned in my body, that is how I know that I'm acting out of alignment. And you can feel this. It's not just like a huge, life situation like what I'm trying to talk about, but it can be individualized. You said yes to a Christmas party that you don't want to go to, and as you're getting ready or as you're walking in, you feel kind of sick and you don't really want to be there. All of these things are keys that your body is giving you to show you or to talk to you and give you signals. So the first thing that I want to talk about is going to be my moment of knowing. In nursing, there is something called the nursing intuition, right? Just a hint, it's the same as your own intuition. We've just labeled it as something positive, and so people listen to it. I can't tell you how many times I came on shift, I had a gut feeling about a patient, right? So I was already on edge, we'll say. I'm already looking for signs. I'm already proactive. I'm really quick to take action. As soon as I see a sign, I'm on the phone trying to get orders changed or trying to give the patient certain medications, trying to give them fluids. All of this to pivot and realign so that we have the best outcome. The problem is several years ago, when I started taking this journey really seriously, I noticed that I had quieted my intuition for so long personally, just in my day-to-day life that it was hard to reconnect. So really, if you're resonating with the things that I have said before, when you feel like you're at a crossroads, when you feel like it's time to make a shift or a change, this is what you need to pay attention to, is how connected do you feel with your intuition, with that voice that's inside of you. And if you don't feel connected with it, I'm gonna post in the show notes a podcast that I listened to recently that was amazing. But the thing that I did mostly was journaling. You all know I love journaling. Journaling is my favorite activity because I feel like if you can get in the zone and you're listening, to like some meditation music, you can literally just be writing, and it's all intuitive writing. You can ask a question and you can hear it so clearly. And this is a skill and a muscle that you do have to develop, but journaling is a great way to start. It's cheap, it's easy, you don't have to buy any books. You sit down, you create your quiet space, and you start journaling. Okay, so let me share with you my aha moment of when I finally realized that I was living out of alignment. So at this time, I was doing some of my self-development. I had created this business. Mind you, this is not my first online business venture. I was a nurse writer previously. Looking back on it, lots of blocks and limiting beliefs that kind of stopped that career from really blossoming. Now I know, which is why I'm an entrepreneur coach, so I can also save people from making the same mistakes that I did. But anywho, so I had already created this business. I was reading books. I was listening to podcasts. I was kind of doing all of the things in the learning realm. And I was driving to work. We were going to work, and I, at the time, had to drop off my 2 toddlers at daycare. So we're up very early. And my middle child is, I guess what you would describe as, he's just very strongly opinionated. He's a little bit of a difficult kid. He's just hard to understand. And so we're driving, and he doesn't want to go, and so he's yelling things at me and he's crying. At the time, he's probably 3. So he's very young to be having all these big emotions about going to school so early. And of course, the other one is chiming into exactly what he's doing. So I have 2 kids basically screaming at me and saying that they hate school and that they don't want to go. Now I start crying because I also don't want to do this to them. I already have kind of created this vision and know where I want to be. I just can't figure out how to get there. And so as I drop them off and I'm driving to work, the things that are going through my head are, is this what my life is really meant to be? Do I have to just survive this time in my life? Because that's what people will tell you. If you're talking at work on, oh, this morning was so difficult, this morning was so hard, it was hard to get here, yada, yada, The responses that you're going to be back are, you're in a really difficult time of life. It'll get better. Yeah. But I also have to let you know that no one is saving you. And so if you just keep thinking that, you have the potential to just continuously live your life in this survival mode because it'll get better eventually. This brings me to my workshop that I have coming up. I have a workshop that's going to take you through the process of assessing the life that you're living right now and the areas that you're not feeling fulfilled in, that you're not feeling happy in. And can I tell you that it's okay to not feel happy and fulfilled in certain areas of your life. What's not okay is staying in that same energy, doing the same stuff that's producing the same results. That's not okay. So I'm here to help you. Register for that workshop. I'm going to leave the link in the show notes, but the workshop, we're going to walk through the process of assessing where you are in life and then building a vision in those areas that you want. So little things could be the change between a 1 score and a 10 score. And sometimes you don't see that it's that easy until you pause and assess and notice what you're doing and where you're at. And then I'm also going to walk you through my stepping stone process that's going to help you almost reverse engineer the vision into goals that you can start with. And a big thing that I get a lot is that people are afraid to do this because their vision seems so outlandish and like it could never be possible. But the beauty of the stepping stone process is that you can break it down so small to the point where it becomes a goal that you realize that you could actually do. And that's all this is, one stepping stone at a time, which is why it's called the stepping stone process, right? I'm going to teach you all of this in that workshop. So I'll leave the link, but register and grab your seat. It's going to be really awesome. Plus, the goal for this workshop is really to give you something that you can reuse over and over and over and over again. So if you start on this journey or that vision and you realize that it's not where you're wanting to be and you start to feel misaligned, you can pivot and you can rebuild and you can reset your goals so you're not just stuck. It's tools that I'm giving you that you can use over and over and over again. On to the second part that I talked about in the intro. If you feel like you're way too far down the road and that you can't pivot and that you've wasted all this time and all this money, I'm calling bull on that. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. So I have shared this story before on my podcast, but if you don't know, like I said, I've been a nurse since 2015. I have continuously been in education until today. I worked in like a progressive unit for a couple of years. Then I moved into the ICU. When I came into that progressive unit, I had an ADN, so an associate's degree, with the goal of getting a bachelor's eventually, but I just needed to get in and start working. So I had my associates. I probably had about, and I'm giving it a big guess, 6 months. And then I was in a bachelor's degree. Now, when you already have an ADN and you move into your bachelor's, it's pretty much just papers. They just kind of want your money so that you can get your bachelor's degree. So I jumped through hoops, I wrote the papers, I got my bachelor's degree. At that time, when I had graduated from that, I was actually working in the ICU. So everyone around you, if you've worked in the ICU before, usually is there so that they can become either an NP or a CRNA. That's usually the top two goals. There's a lot of turnover in the ICUs. And so I knew I did not want to be a CRNA. I watched the fellow CRNAs that I was working with and did not want that kind of work environment. And so I decided that I wanted to be an NP. A couple of other friends on the unit were going to be NPs, so I decided that was a great option for me. So again, I probably had about 3 or 4 months before I applied to, here we go, a doctorate program. Why? Because that is who I am. I have to do everything to the best of my ability, and there are no no's, I guess is what I want to say. So I applied for this doctorate program, I got in, and I started immediately. I have been in that doctorate program for probably now, we'll say 4 years now. Right now I'm stuck in the research phase. So my point is that I was very far down this nursing journey. So then to have pivoted into coaching seems like a loss. To me, it does not, because I feel very aligned in coaching. I love inspiring other people to go after their dreams, because I don't think that people understand that now is the time. Like in this day and age, with the technology that we have, the access to millions of people, billions of people probably, there's no ceiling anymore. So I always just feel so gut-wrenched when I hear specifically a fellow nurse like just feel so stuck, feel so boxed in. They're so unhappy with what they're doing, and they have these passions and they have these talents, but they won't go after them because they're too far down the road. So if you're thinking it's way too late for me to pivot, I challenge you to rethink that. I challenge you to register for this workshop, because this is when you're going to find and build the vision of what you want. And you don't have to think about it as reality. You can think about, if I were to stumble on $1 million, what would I do with it? What life would I live? What would I be building? And then I'm going to teach you how you can make that a reality. And you don't have to quit your job, and you don't have to uproot your whole family if that's not what you want to do. But I'm going to teach you how you can build that reality. Okay? I don't ever, ever, ever want anyone to feel stuck and lost like I did. Okay? That's my whole goal on this coaching business, on this journey for this podcast. So here are some things that I have really, really had to master in order to keep this pivot alive, because pivoting is not easy. It at times can be very challenging and if you let it get to you, you could feel very hopeless. So you have to instill a couple of things. Mindset is a must. I have already said it before, mindset is your key to success. You have to learn to really embody a growth mindset and to continuously reframe your mind and disprove those beliefs that you have. Again, from the last episode, beliefs are just things that you've learned along the road. So a lot of them are not your own. Most of them are from your parents or from, generational things that have been passed down. Disproving those and rewriting your story is the key to keeping that positive mindset. And I'm not saying you have to have like a toxic positivity mindset. That's not what I'm saying. You can be very realistic on your mindset, but always trust and believe in your vision and where you want to go. That is the key. Along with mindset and moving through these limiting beliefs are things like shadow work, which is very difficult to do. But again, I said it yesterday on my Instagram, the grass is greener on the other side. So you have to go through the hard parts. You have to feel those feelings. You have to move through it in order to rewrite your story. A lot of people have been saying, and I'm trying to resonate with it a little bit more, but you have to kill the old you for the new you to come in. And again, if you're doing all those old things, all those old habits, if you're still acting the same way, you're gonna get the same results. So you have to do something different. You have to change in order to get new results. And then the final thing that I've already kind of touched on, but I'm going to say it again. You have to trust in your vision and stay true to it. So continuously reminding yourself why you're doing it, because I don't know about you, but the vision boards that I create, the things that I think of are usually really far off. Like, I will say that I am a dreamer, and having that quality is great because you do reach higher heights because you're dreaming really big, but the road is a long, hard road. And so having your mindset, learning to disprove these limiting beliefs, learning to rewrite your story, and trusting that your vision was given to you for a reason are going to keep you on the path. Again, register for my workshop. It's going to be November 20th at 1 p.m. If you're watching this after that, it's going to be on my website for Evergreen, so you can just click on it and watch it and go through the exercises. But I'm going to teach you how to assess where you're at right now. I'm going to teach you how to create a vision, you can create a huge vision if you want to, but really particularly the workshop is supposed to be to help you feel fulfilled in the areas of life that you don't feel fulfilled. So I'll help you, or I'll teach you to create that vision, how to create that vision. And then I'm going to teach you my stepping stones method to break it down. And I'm going to show you how you can create goals that will get you to that vision. All right. So go ahead, register, save your seat, and I will see you on November 20th. If you don't, I will see you next Friday on the podcast.